But once you sign your name, you have now given power to the white school psychologist to tell you why your child ain't learning. Before you sign, Sister Nikki, the power is all yours to determine why your kid ain't learning. Before you sign, you can tell the principal, my child ain't learning because the teacher's no damn good. Before you sign your name, you can tell the teacher, my child ain't learning because you're just not a good instructor. Before you sign your name, you could tell them the reason my child is not reading on grade level is because last year he was suspended so much that he was never in class. The year before, his teacher was out so much that he was taught by 7 different substitutes from September to June. You can tell them the year before that, you had a brand-new teacher fresh out of college who didn't know her backside from her front side, and the entire classroom was so disorganized and chaotic that nobody could learn absolutely nothing. That's why my son is behind. But once you sign your name, you just gave white people the authority to tell you what's wrong with your child. And that's what's wrong with special ed. Too many black parents are letting schools tell them why their child ain't learning. The number one reason our children aren't learning, Sister Nikki, is because of a diagnosis I call ABT. What is A.B.T. ABT simply says this: the average black child in America is approximately 2 grades behind level because they ain't been taught. I said they ain't been taught. Shame on any black parent who signs permission for some white person to tell you your child is retarded or autistic or emotionally disturbed or learning disabled when you know that the reason they're behind is because they ain't been taught. Now, autism is a legitimate diagnosis, and we do have autistic children. I want to be clear. But what am I finding? I'm finding that a lot of black children who are not autistic, not the ones who are, because we do have children who are, but I'm finding, Sister Nikki, that a lot of black children, young ones in particular, are being misdiagnosed with autism because what? They have a hearing loss, or they suffer from social anxiety, or they have a speech language impairment, okay, or they are a selective mute. What is selective mutism? Selective mutism is a diagnosable condition when a child simply chooses not to talk. And unfortunately, and there can be many causes to that, a lot of kids are being thrown in the autistic class simply because they're not talking and we're not getting them properly evaluated. So parents, please stop letting them throw your child away to special ed. They only putting them in there, Sister Nikki, so they can get what? Paid. So they can get paid. If I'm a black public school principal, Sister Nikki, and I'm missing $100,000 from my budget, and I'm short 2 teachers, and I need some extra money for school trips, and I need some extra money for the basketball equipment, and I need some extra money for computers, what's the quickest way for me to get money in my school? Putting black boys in special education is the fastest way to get money into your school. What are the 13 special ed diagnoses? There's only 13 people. There's only 13 people. Mental retardation, specific learning disability, autism, emotional disturbance, speech and language impairment, traumatic brain injury, orthopedic impairment, deafness, blindness, deafness with blindness. What else do we have? We have multiple disabilities, other health impairments, and developmental delay. Those are the 13 federal special ed labels. They are the only 13, although states can create others based on the original 13. Now, if you notice, Sister Nikki, I did not mention ADHD. ADHD is not a special ed category. So the question is this, and I'm going to stop on this note. If special education is not a special ed disability, why are children being put in special ed for a disability that is not a special ed label. ADHD is a what? It's a clinical diagnosis. It's not a school diagnosis. It's not a special ed diagnosis. It's not a school psychology diagnosis. It's a clinical psychology diagnosis. But according to special ed law, if a child has a medical problem, and ADHD is psychiatry, psychiatry is a branch of medicine, so it's considered medicine. If the child has a diagnosed condition outside of school, he was diagnosed with something outside of school, if that problem affects how well he learns in school, Sister Nikki, he can be put in special ed. That's a bad thing for our community. Why? Because more now than ever before, black boys who do not have a problem learning are being put in special ed, not because they can't learn, but because they can't sit still. Now, is it illegal to put a child in special ed for behavior problems? Of course it is. Special ed is for learning problems, not behavior problems. But guess what? As long as black parents remain illiterate about special ed law, the white public school teachers and the black she-males in the public school are going to continue to do what? Put black boys in special ed for behavior problems, get that extra federal money because they know ain't nobody going to do a damn thing about it. And as far as drugs are concerned, ADHD, Sister Nikki, does not stand for attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, not to Umar Johnson. To Umar Johnson, ADHD stands for what? Absence of your daddy from your home disorder. Absence, A. Daddy, D. From your home, H. Disorder, D. 75% of the black boys diagnosed with ADHD do not have a father figure in their life. It is not a psychiatric problem. It is a black family issue. It is an issue of the over-incarceration, psychoacademic extermination war against black men. They are drugging our kids for normal behaviors that grow out of not spending time with your daddy. ADHD is absence from the home, absence of daddy from the home disorder. And as far as the psychiatric medicine, you must be crazy to put your children on drugs because some white teacher or some black she-male told you that they can't sit still. How dare you give them Concerta? How dare you give them Strattera? How dare you give them Cycler? How dare you give them Depakote? How dare you give them Ritalin? How dare you give my little black brothers and sisters dangerous, brain-killing, mind-altering, psychiatric drugs because of what a teacher said? That's sick, Sister Nikki. We putting our kids on drugs because the teacher said. Teachers are not trained in mental health. Teachers are not trained in psychology. Teachers are not trained in psychiatry. They get maybe 2 or 3 intro to psychology classes. They can't do what I do. So why the hell are we letting them tell us what's best for our kids? Most child abuse in the black community, Sister Nikki, does not take place in the home. It takes place in the school. Schools are the number one perpetrators of black child abuse. Killing your brain cells, messing with your liver, messing with your kidney, leading to epilepsy, diabetes, killing a black boy's ability to produce healthy semen in his testicles, causing tics, tremors, hallucinations, delusions, sleeping problems, appetite disorders, suicidal and homicidal thoughts, mania, anxiety. Why in the hell would you give your child a drug that can destroy their entire body's chemistry? Because he or she cannot sit still long enough to be miseducated. And I'll stop there.